Hey there, I'm Shekha from Technical Cloud Knowledge and I'm back with another lecture on Linux. So this one is the lecture number 13 and today let's take a closer look at power off and reboot command. So let me tell you, primarily this is the metaphysical lecture. We will not cover the practical part today. We will cover the practical part in further lectures. So today we will just cover the theoretical part regarding the power off and reboot command. So yeah, don't forget to watch the video all the way to the end in order to avoid missing any necessary point considering the power of and reboot command. So I think it's time to begin in the lecture first. Then we will discuss other things. Okay. So I think you all know regarding these commands such as power off and reboot command. Because if you do remember that when we were child, we do have a subject called computer. And through this subject, we get familiar with these commands such as power off, reboot, restart, shutdown, etc. So at that time, we just learn these commands to just get an overview. But today we will discuss these commands in depth. So for that, you need to watch the video all the way to the end. Okay, let's begin the lecture first. Yeah, before moving with the lecture, I have a question for you guys. My question is that how does a server or the hardware get started? To answer this question, let's take an example first. Suppose, let's assume that it is a mobile phone. Okay. We all know a mobile phone is also known as we can say that it is a device or a system or a server or a hardware, anything. Okay. It is a device. So this mobile phone, which is a device, when it get discharged, it will not work their function. It will not work at all. But why does it happens? Because there is no power. We all know that to run a device we need supply of power. So when we supply power to this device, it will again restart. So how does it happens? Basically, when it get discharged, the components of this device doesn't getting power at all. So that's why it get powered off. When we supply power to this device, it will again restart and it will again work. Okay. So that's how it same happens with the power of server or a hardware. Suppose there is a server or the hardware. Okay. How does it get started? We need to supply power to the server or the hardware so that it will get started. When we supply power, it will get started. But if you notice that behind this server, if you do remember that there is an electronic gadget which is known as SMPS, which is located at the back side of the server. SMPS, which is termed as switch mode power supply. Basically, this SMPS, which is look like in a rectangular box, basically this gadget work its basic usage is that it will supply power to each and every component of your motherboard. As we all know that in our server there is not a single equipment, there are multiple equipments, and so that each and every equipment will do their function, will do their work, we need to supply power to each and every component. We need to supply power to each and every equipment so that it will get start. So that's how it happens. When we supply power to each and every component of the motherboard, it will get started. But how does we supply? So that we need to set up a power code. It is look like a transmitted line, power supply transmitted line. When we connect this, when we set up a power code at our server, on our server, and we connect all together like SMPS along with the components of the motherboard, when we connect each and everything together, the supply of power being in process, and that's how the server will get started. So I think you will get an idea to how does the motherboard components get power basically, or how does the server will get started. Basically, to supply power to each and every component of the motherboard internally or externally through SMPS. Okay, we need supply, we supply power to externally and internally components of motherboard through SMPS, and when we supply power to our server, it will get started. So that's how the process will begin and do their work. So I think you will get an idea how does the server or the hardware get started and how what is the role of SMPS. Okay. So now let's move with the commands on. Now today we're gonna cover such commands which I'm going to which I'm going to write in my screen, on my screen. So first one is power off. Today we'll cover the power off command. And the second one is reboot. Third one is halt. Fourth one is init command. Fifth one is shutdown command. Sixth one is systemctl power off. Seventh is systemctl reboot. Eighth is systemctl suspend. And the last one, which we'll talk today only, systemctl hibernate. Okay, so we'll cover all these commands today. So first, let's talk about the power off command. Primarily, we have a command called power off. So basically, the power off command is used to stop the operation of a piece of hardware. Okay, for that we don't need to plug out the, like, we don't need to pull the plug out. We just need to give some sort of predetermined control to our machine that it's time to stop working. When we do give a control like that, it's time to stop working, it will stop their function. If I talk about an easy way, in short words, like suppose in our server, in the motherboard there are many components, okay, and there is an smps too. So what happens, basically the components of the motherboard will not get power at all, but the power is still exists till smps. So when the components of the motherboard will not get powered, our system get powered off, and we believe that our system doesn't getting power at all and it is powered off. Our device, our operating system is powered off, but till smps there is power still exists. Just the game of components, just the components is not getting power, so we believe that our system is get powered off. If I talk about an easy words, if I do give an example of this, suppose suppose it is a society or a colony, okay, and this one is the electricity sector, which is known as smps. Okay, let's take it. This one is smps, and this one is the colony, or if I talk about in computer language, these are our components of motherboard. These are the components of motherboard. Okay, suppose what happens when in our society there is a power cut. We believe that there is no power, the electricity is went down, there is no electricity in whole country. But actually, in actual way, in reality, the electricity sector, which supply power to each and every area, this electricity sector is still getting power. So that's how the same happened with in an server. The components is not getting power, just the components is not getting power, but smps is still getting power. When the components is not getting power, our device is powered off. Just like when the colony there is a power cut, the electricity went out, so the whole colony doesn't getting power at all. So it same happens with the server, just the components is not getting power, so our system get powered off, but smps still getting power. So I think you are able to understand now what is power off command. Now, if we move towards the next command, which is reboot command. So if I talk about the reboot command, so what happens? Most of the people believe that reboot command is similar with restart command. So we'll also cover the restart command today only. Okay. Most of the people what believes that the reboot and the restart command are similar. But if I talk about in reality, the both commands are different in different ways. They do their different work. So how can they be similar? So my question is that how can they be similar if they do their functions, if they do their different work? So most of the people are wrong, I think, because I think they all are wrong because they are assuming wrong things. Okay, so if I talk about the reboot command first, reboot commands, what happened? The operating system, which is loaded in hard drive, just it will boot again. It will load again. Okay, our components of motherboard is still getting powered, just the operating system will boot again. And if I talk about the restart command, in restart command what happens? Our components along with our operating system, they both, what happens? They both will boot again. They again restart. They both doesn't getting power, along with components and the operating system doesn't getting power, and then after powered off they will restart again. So the difference between both of them is very simple. If I talk about in short way, reboot command is just like an instance of like rebooting your operating system again. Whereas if I talk about the restart command, it is that kind of command in which we start something again. Something is starting again. So that's how it works. Like in reboot command, our system will boot again, but the components is still getting power. In restart command, our system along with components doesn't getting power and they will again restart from the very first start. So now afterwards we have next command, which is hold command. So in hold command, in Linux, this command is used to stop the functions of CPU. We use hold command so that we can stop the function of CPU. But we can do some sort of setting in which we can stop, like we can power off or reboot our system as well. Okay, so most of the people believe that the hold command is only used to stop the function of CPU, but it is not true. When we do some sort of setting, we can also power off and reboot along with stopping the function of CPU by using only the hold command. So if you want to power off along with her, like stopping the function of CPU, you need to execute the command. You need to execute the command halt along with hyphen P. Basically, P we are using here is referring to power off. So that's why we are using halt along with hyphen P, so that our system will get powered off along with stop the function of CPU. Now, second, if you want to reboot or restart your device along with stopping the function of CPU, you will going to execute the command halt along with hyphen reboot. Okay, so that's how we will do. We will use the halt command by using some sort of setting. Now, we do have our next command, which is init command. So, in init command, what happens? In Linux server, in Linux, we use init command so that we can pass out the signal to the kernel. We use init command so that we will pass the signal to the kernel. If I want to power off my device, I will pass the signal to the kernel that it's time to power off the device. Or now if I want to reboot or restart my device, I will similar way and I will pass the signal to the kernel that it's time to reboot or restart the device. Okay. Now, basically, if you want to power off your device by passing out the signal, so you will going to execute the command. You will going to execute the command init 0. Okay. And if you want to reboot, you will going to pass out the command init 6. So that's how init command will do their function or will work. Now, furthermore, we have next command, which is shutdown command. I have heard that most of the people take shutdown command as powered off and reboot command. Is that true? So let me tell you that the reboot command and the power off command are the combination of shutdown command. We can take the alternate of these commands. Like shutdown is kind of an alternate of power off and reboot command. But it is the very easy like command. If we compare to both of them, it is safest to all, like we can use it very in a very easy format. It is easy to use, user friendly command, okay, and safest as compared to both of them. So that's why most of the people use shutdown command as compared to, instead of using the power off and reboot command. Because if you want to like power off your device, first you need to power off, and if you want to reboot, then you will use the reboot command. Like you, if you want to do both of them together, you can just simply run the command shut. Okay, so that's how the shutdown command work. Even you can schedule a shutdown by using time format. Suppose if you want to shut down your device by using the time format after 3 hours or after 30 minutes, so you can schedule a shutdown as well. So that's how we use shutdown command, and it is very easy to use. So it is kind of user friendly command. Now, additionally, we have next command, which is systemctl power off. I think if you have heard this command, you were like similar. You have compared this command with power off command. It kind of a similar command. Am I right? So basically, systemctl power off and power off command, some have the exact work. They are kind of a similar command. Systemctl power off is the main command, whereas the power off command is the alias of systemctl power off command. So they both have the exact work. They do the same thing, like they will power off the components, they will power off the components of the motherboard, but the SMPS is still getting power. And if I talk about the next command, which is systemctl reboot, it is also similar with reboot command. Systemctl reboot is the main command, whereas the reboot command is the alias of systemctl reboot command. They also have the exact work. They do the same work, like they will just do the like reboot the operating system again. The both of the commands have the same work. Now, our second last command, which is going to I'm telling you today, is systemctl suspend. So if I talk about the systemctl suspend, what is suspend term refer? This suspend term refers to discontinue someone or something for a short period of time. So I think most of the people believes that the suspend term is also goes with the server too. Like they believe that the systemctl suspend term is also do the same thing. It will suspend the device for a temporary period. Like it will power off the device, shut down the device for a temporary period. But it is not true. The systemctl shutdown or suspend command have different work. Okay, it will do, the systemctl suspend, it will first, suppose if you are doing any work on your hardware, okay, if you are running any task on your hardware, it will capture that state and it will store the state into the RAM component. It will store the data into the RAM component. So it is necessary in suspend command, so that like it is necessary to power on the RAM component. If you do not power on the RAM component, your system state will not capture in that RAM component. So that's why it is very important in systemctl suspend. It will capture that state into the RAM component with the exception of RAM module. So you need to power on the RAM module, and your system state will be captured on that. It is kind of easy to use command as well, and it consume less data. It will consume less RAM. So that's why we use systemctl suspend. And if I talk about the last command, which is systemctl hibernate. Hibernate command or system CTL suspend command, they both are took as the similar commands. Mostly the both have the somewhere similar work, but not the exact same work. Okay, so most of the people take it as an alternate as well, but it is not correct to do that. Basically, systemctl hibernate, what it will do, it will also capture the state of your system. Whatever the task you are running, it will capture that state and it will store the data. Okay, even after if you shut down or power off your device, it doesn't affect on your data. It will remain your, like it will remain save your data. But at in hibernate command, you don't need to power on the RAM component. It is not necessary. Whereas if I talk about the suspend command, it is necessary to power on the RAM component, but it is not compulsory to do in the hibernate command. So these are the basic usages of these commands. regarding power off and reboot commands. So I hope you get an idea regarding these commands. In meantime, you need to stay supportive, stay connected with technical cloud knowledge, and keep learning about more on Linux. And until I meet again with the another important lecture on Linux. So that's it for today. And yeah, at last I would like to say I would like to appreciate your valuable time for giving me. So thanks for watching.